Hey, what's up? What up? What up? What up, everybody? What's going on, man? What's up? Hopefully you can hear me loud and clearly, you know what I mean? And shout out to everybody who's already in the chat, man. What up? What up? This your boy Big Man, and we back live. All right, man, today we're going to be talking about Memphis because there's a lot going on in Memphis lately, man. And it just made sense to talk about everything all at the same time with everything that's going down, man. So who we got in the chat so far, man? I see Baltimore in the house. What's up? I appreciate you showing up. You know what I mean? Who else we got? Somebody said Lil Migo might have lost his chain, but at least he didn't end up like some other rappers. Okay, I see y'all, man. I get the point. But you gotta admit, man, it's been a tough couple of months for Lil Migo as far as social media is concerned, man. It seemed like he's been running into an issue here and there about everything, man. It's been going crazy for Lil Migo, man. And the biggest point that people are, or the biggest thing people are talking about is this right here, this chain. It seems like it's causing a lot of drama for Lil Migo and those cats over there at CMG. So, man, let's get to it, man. Let's actually, man, before we get things going, okay, we got Atlanta in the house. What up, AZ King? What up, man? What's up? I see you. Big Memphis in the building. What's up? Milwaukee in the building. What up, Atlanta? What's up? Shout out your cities in the chat. And before we get all things going, man, let's go ahead and keep it official, man, like a ref with a whistle. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up? Shout out to everybody who checked in and is already checking in, man. This your boy Big Man, and you know we back live. So we're going to be talking about everything that's going on in Memphis and all this Memphis drama, man. Now, before we get started, man, I want to do my due respects, man. I want to start this off since we're going to talk about Memphis, and I didn't do a video about this because this is somebody I really, really idolized and liked in the rap game as a kid coming up, man. Like, she was really doing her thing out there. And I'm talking about the one and only Gangsta Boo. So I wanted to start off, since we're going to talk about Memphis, start off by saying, yo, rest in peace to Gangsta Boo. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, man. Now, we're also going to get to the story of what took place and clear up any rumors out there. And her family was pretty transparent about what happened when Gangsta Boo lost her life at the beginning of this year, man. I believe it was actually on the first of the year. So a tough way to start the year off for us hip hop fans, man. Now, for all of you who are getting in here right now, make sure you hit that like button. That's really important, man. It shows the algorithm that we back live. It's been a minute. We want to get those alerts out there. So do me a favor right now, hit that like button. But let's also do this, man. Since we're going to talk about Gangsta Boo, let's actually do the news story or play a clip from the news story of what happened. Gangsta Boo might have actually put him in the game when he was really, really young. And he maintained his loyalty to her throughout. You know what I mean? So Gangsta Boo being from Memphis coming out with 666, I guess they wanted to be called now. You know, they had a lot of roots. And what's crazy is for 666, it seemed like besides Yo Gotti earlier, and they eventually started to come around and talk about Yo Gotti and be cool with him, but they were opening doors out there. Let's be for real, man. They was really doing a lot for producers in Memphis. Even though DJ Paul and Juicy J did most of the production for 666, it seemed like they weren't scared to work with other people outside of their internal crew and give a lot of people opportunities to shine, man. But, man, let's go ahead and continue with the news. And what's crazy about it, after the verses that they did, the 666 verse Bone Thugs and Harmony, it seemed like there was a little bit of a resurgence in their careers there, man. But you couldn't say that better. I couldn't say that better myself, man. A tough loss to the hip hop community, and it seemed like Gangsta Boo had a lot more to give hip hop, even though her time in the game is over the span of like 20 years or so. So it goes to show that, man, one thing could happen and you could come back and be and contribute to this whole thing we call hip hop, right? Now, as the news of that spread and that situation started to go out there were a lot of rumors. So there was a family member who came out to talk about Gangsta Boo and exactly what happened. And I want to do this. I want to go ahead and read some of the TMZ article that talks about that. Now, I'm going to skip a little bit, but it goes to say this. It says, sources connected to Gangsta Boo tell TMZ the rapper's death appears to be drug-related. We're told Gangsta was with her brother last night at a local concert in Memphis, and that her sibling started to overdose sometime in the night, requiring hospitalization. While he ended up being okay, our sources tell us that people familiar with Gangsta Boo's death scene insist narcotics were found on her person and that a substance that's highly, publicized or talked about right now is believed to be at play. You guys know what I mean. It's the one thing that's really catching a lot of headlines out there. And they're also being told that the police are launching an investigation, but the Mitchell family have come out to talk about it. The artist's mother, Veronica Mitchell, issued a statement on Monday about this tragedy. She said that the Mitchell family would like to thank everyone for their condolences regarding the untimely death of Lola Gangsta Boo Mitchell. The family is asking for your continued prayers and privacy as we process the loss of our loved one, man. So with that being said, man, after coming in the rap game at a fairly young age, hitting the scene with 3-6, and really taking over, man, and really doing her thing on the solo tip and everything like that, and being a bridge for artists in Memphis to come out and to get an opportunity to really show their talent, man, we just like to say salute to Gangsta Boo and, man, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? All of that, you know what I mean? All right, man. So now we're going to continue on, man. Let's move along. What up, AZ King? Y'all listen to AZ King there in the chat, man. And we're going to move to something else that's going on, man. With a rapper that I wanted to jump on this. I was doing some traveling, setting up some interviews and stuff. But I wanted to talk about this, man. And it's Finesse2Tymes. So Finesse2Tymes was in the news recently because of a shooting that took place at a concert in Knoxville, right? So I want to bring that up and talk about that for a second because I think it has some importance. Now, for those of you who don't know, and you'd really be living under a rock if you didn't know, that Finesse2Tymes is one of the hottest rappers in the rap game right now. It seems like a lot of eyes are on him as far as what he does on social media. It seems like a lot of eyes are on him as far as how he's moving the culture, how he talks, a lot of his slang. He's from Memphis. He kind of just fit right in. And he's closely related to Mob Ties. Now, Mob Ties being the label that put him in the rap game right after his release from prison. Remember, Finesse2Tymes got released from prison only I don't even think it's been like 6-7 months. But man, to talk about hitting the ground running, dude has really done his thing as far as hitting the ground, really getting his music out there and getting that bag. And he shows it off constantly on social media. And dude stays booked up. Like Finesse2Tymes, if you're a rapper and you coming out of jail and you had a following before you went to jail, the way that he came back and he blew up on TikTok, and I got to give TikTok a lot of credit. The algorithm was really pushing his songs, and people were making a lot of videos to his songs, you know what I mean? And it just boosted him to the point where he's one of the premier artists people are looking at right now, right? But Finesse2Tymes can't stay out of some trouble, it seems like, man. You know, it seems like no matter what, he gets into some sort of issue or something on social media. Now, when the thing happened with Takeoff, him being closely related to Mob Ties, he took the mature approach. He basically said that, yo, man, he wasn't going to get involved in any of that and that, you know, he's going to stand on it, that he's with Mob Ties. That's who he came in the game with. That's who he's going to rock with. And to a point, you got to respect that, right? No matter what is being said out there about Mob Ties, he's going to hold them down. But regardless of all that, there's been some behavior with Finesse2Tymes that could be said not questionable, but just part of the hip-hop environment that just doesn't aid to him succeeding in the rap game, man. You know what I mean? So let's talk about the most recent incident, right? There was this fight that took place in Knoxville. Now, this was an interesting situation because it was a show that was sponsored by a company that, pushes the green stuff. And I don't know, it's a lot going on. So the promoter was the store owner. I guess it was in the back of the store or something like that. But Finesse2Tymes gets into a standoff with his crew and some other guy, and it ends up going bad. The promoter's blaming Finesse2Tymes. Finesse2Tymes is blaming the promoter. And the people who are fans are just watching this all unfold. So, man, let's actually go to a video that I want to show of somebody leaving the scene of what allegedly went down with Finesse2Tymes and his crew. So let's go to that real quick. My bad.
Multiple people shot at the Finesse2Tymes show. They started shooting inside the show, man. Hey, where you park the car? You got the keys to the car? Come on, let's get on the freeway, man. Get up out of here. What a car? Bruh. She got hit. Multiple people shot at the Finesse.
Now, as you can hear, this guy, man, he was a little bit ecstatic, or should we say erratic. He's like, well, he seemed calm. Let me not say he's erratic. He seemed calm, but he's letting it be known that he's trying to get up out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? Bruh. Because somebody then got shot. And there was a shooting up at the Finesse2Tymes concert. If you listen very closely, he actually says she got shot. She got hit. You know what I mean? So I'm going to play this one more time for y'all.
2Tymes show. They started shooting inside the show, man. Hey, where you park the car? You got the keys to the car? Come on, let's get on the freeway, man. Get up out of here. What a car? Bruh. She got hit. Bruh.
She got hit. I don't know who she was, but we'll get to that.
Multiple people shot.
All right, man. So let's talk about this, man. Now, in the aftermath of all that, there was a lot of finger pointing and a lot of blaming going on, right? And it seemed like in the media, Finesse2Tymes crew were the ones being accused of the shooting. Even the headline said that, right? They said Finesse2Tymes crew, and I'm reading an article that came from the Source magazine, and it said this. It says, Finesse2Tymes crew accused of shooting robbing store in Knoxville. Now, you would wonder, okay, this doesn't make sense to me. Finesse2Tymes is there to perform. Like, is it commonplace for a rapper to show up and rob the place that's giving them the back end, that's there to give them the back end? That always sounded funny to me to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, rappers, they show up, they get the money, their first half is being sent, and then they show up, and before they hit the stage, they get that other half, right? That's customary throughout the industry, right? All promoters will tell you that. Maybe sometimes they work out deals with tickets, but it's rare. You know what I'm saying? Depending on who the artist is, openers are questioned, things like that. But that's normal business practice, right? So for Finesse2Tymes to show up with intentions of robbing the place that's essentially employing them for the night,
bruh.
Actually,
stop the cap.
You know what I mean? I don't believe it. I have a hard time believing that one. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't seem believable from my point of view. You know what I'm saying? Crazier things have happened, you know? So, man, let's get to it, man. So several reports had already confirmed that a shootout occurred at the Finesse2Tymes show in Knoxville, Tennessee. Still, now it has been reported that members of Finesse2Tymes crew were involved in the shooting at the store and are even accused of robbing the establishment, right? Now, to be real, like I said before, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But let's look at this news story, man, provided by none other than the Shade Room, where they talk about the whole ordeal, all right?
Reported to UT Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators believe multiple shooters are involved. Multiple firearms were found at the scene. If you know anything about the shooting, please call Crime Stop. People are recovering after a shooting at My Cannabuds on Clinton Highway early this morning. Officers found 3 gunshot victims on the scene. They were transported to UT Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators believe multiple shooters are involved. Multiple firearms were found at the scene. If you know anything about the shooting, please call Crime Stop.
Oh, they want you to snitch. They trying to get you to tell if you know anything. And I guess this was the flyer for the performance or whatever right here. But you heard multiple weapons were shot. Multiple people were shot allegedly, man. And it all started off kind of weird. So let's see if we got the video of Finesse2Tymes and his crew getting approached, man. For YouTube reasons, we might have already checked it and it wasn't a good go. No, we got it. Let's go. So let's check this out. So here goes the video, the actual video of the picture that you see right here, right? This is right here. So as you see right there in the red, that's Finesse2Tymes sitting down. It looks like he's chilling, but he's actually performing. There's music playing in the background, copyright, you know, already know what's up. So there's music playing in the background or whatnot, and he's just, it looks like he's performing, but it doesn't look like the most active performance you would expect at like a Finesse2Tymes show. Because if you see the energy that he delivers with in his music videos, you would automatically assume you getting that same thing on the stage. I'm not saying that that was the issue. Maybe at this place they wanted him to sit down like that, but it seems a bit odd. You know what I mean? And actually, I've seen Finesse2Tymes perform before on stage, not in person, but in different videos. And he was standing up, giving that energy. So maybe this was just an odd situation out, right? So as you see, he's sitting down. He got the mic in his hand. He's performing, sitting down. He stands up, and you see these cats are all getting to the business. You know what I'm saying? A little melee pursues, you know what I'm saying? You see a lot of people trying to point their cameras, but they're getting pushed around, so they don't know where to point them. And let's rewind that back, because this is odd. I ain't gonna lie, man. I ain't gonna lie. Actually, let's do this. There you go. So he's sitting there on stage, man, which is weird. I'm gonna be real. Anybody who's been to a show, you know that's kind of odd, man. Somebody sitting there on stage performing with the mic in their hand. Usually they be standing up. Maybe it was the end of his set too. That's a possibility too, because things get left out of these videos, right? So he's on the stage and he's still kind of performing. There's music in the background. That's why I got the audio, you know, chilling. You know what I mean? Then he stands up all crazy. I can't tell if somebody said something to him. Obviously they did, because the way that he jumped up, it looks like, man, somebody said something to him that was just overboard. You know, that just went, you know, all the way left. Then that's when the melee starts. Look like Finesse2Tymes ain't even have to throw a punch, use his hands or anything. But you know how things go. You know how things go today is what I wanted to say, man. And you heard, as you heard there was gunshots that took place or whatnot. And obviously some people got hurt, man. Crazy situation, man. It's just senseless to be real, man. So this is another part that I wanted to talk about, was what the promoter said afterwards, which didn't make much sense. It says, this guy by the name of Alonzo Butler, I guess he's the owner or the promoter. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% on that. But this is his response. He says, first of all, y'all, it wasn't Knoxville. It was 2Tymes people who shot, then they robbed the store. I saved 3 to 4 people. Bullet went past my left ear. I just knew I had to get down. Thank God I'm still here. Thankful it was no fatalities. So luckily, nobody got killed. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. You know what I'm saying?
Bruh.
It's a shame we got to be at this place in hip hop. We're like, yo, Thank you nobody got killed, even though some people did get shot. You know what I'm saying? And to be real, that message, there's really nothing wrong with that, right? But it continued. He also continued by saying, y'all finesse people ran off with all the money we made, and I have at least 60 people I have to pay for working last night. It's all on camera. They was all acting weird, and it almost felt like we was set up by them. So they're essentially putting the blame on Finesse2Tymes and saying that, yo, bruh, we tried to, bring him here for a show, pay him, and then they robbed us. You know what I'm saying? They robbed us for all the money we made at the show that night, and we had people to pay, putting us in a bind. I don't know. What y'all think? What's the likelihood of that? You know? I don't know. I don't know. Then he continues by saying, plus they shot my friend and one of my security. This just doesn't sit right with me at all, man. And it probably wouldn't, man, if they shot your friend and your security guard and you running a legit show, and he's saying that Finesse2Tymes and them just showed up with the intention to rob them for all the profits that they made that night. Now, is this a possibility that they're covering for their losses by saying that? Maybe trying to sue somebody, maybe even trying to make some sort of insurance claim? Possibility, man. You got to think of those things, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be easy to say, yeah, when all that, we having a bad night or the show didn't go like we expected it to go, or people weren't buying as many bottles as we expected them to buy and stuff like that. To cover our losses, we'll just say Finesse2Tymes and then robbed all the money. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that those are his intentions or that's what he's saying happened, but I mean, it's a possibility, right? So, okay, here's the police report, man. So, shooting with multiple victims at that store on Clinton Highway at around 2 a.m. on Monday, January 2nd. Knoxville Police Department officers responded to a shooting at that same store. Officers quickly arrived on the scene and located 3 gunshot victims who were each transported to the UT Medical Center with what are believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. So 3 people got hit. The investigation so far has revealed that a rap concert was being held there. An altercation occurred during the concert and shots were fired, likely by numerous individuals. Multiple firearms were recovered at the scene. So these cats, hold up. So these cats, they've been watching mafia movies or something. These cats shot their guns and left them there. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe people pulled out their guns and didn't fire them and just, I don't know. That seems odd, dog. That multiple firearms were recovered at the scene while numerous witnesses and possible suspects were detained for further investigation. The investigation into the shooting is ongoing at this time. Now, there have been some developments since then, right? You know what I mean? It's been a lot of things going back and forth, but Finesse2Tymes had to say his piece. So, man, let's actually let the man speak and see what he had to say. Now, this is taken from social media, allegedly right after the shooting took place. Oh, my bad.
Some money, broke ass nigga want to stand beside me and bip and intoxicated. Bruh, you intoxicated, bruh. What is you even doing running a business right now? You can't even run a business properly intoxicated.
Yeah, I agree with him there. He's basically saying that the promoter was trying to stand next to him, look cool, and he's intoxicated at the time, man.
Stop it. Get some help.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you should not be managing a show or in charge and be hitting the bottle, man. Like, that's all business, man. That's when you're supposed to be on your business, bruh. You know what I mean? So I agree with Finesse2Tymes there. Let's go.
What is you standing by me trying to reach at me and what you want to be by me for? I ain't that. Respectfully. I don't move that. So what you around me? What is you doing? We ain't friends, nigga. What the fuck you trying to put your hands around my nigga for? I don't know you. I don't know you, nigga. Nigga, we meant doing business, bitch. That ain't mean I'm trying to feel on you, nigga. No, all my whole motherfucking team being investigated because this lame ass promoter nigga who think he having some motion and having some money, broke ass nigga want to stand beside me and bip and intoxicated. Bruh, you ain't.
Shameful.
Intoxicated, bruh. What is you even doing running a business right now?
Stop it. Get some help.
I can't even run a business properly intoxicated. What is you standing by me trying to reach at me and what you want to be by me for? I ain't that. Respectfully. I don't move that. So what you around me? What is you doing? We ain't friends, nigga. What the fuck you trying to put your hands around my neck for? I don't know you. I don't know you, nigga. Nigga, we met doing business, big A. Don't touch my neck, maggot. You trying to be cool. You want to look cool in front of your city. Man, get your monkey ass away from me, nigga. Try and look cool. Man, get your D ass away from me, man. You up here, trying to get by, nigga. Man, get your bitch ass away from me, man. You ain't spent no money. No, you, nigga. You ain't big A. Bruh.
So basically, Finesse2Tymes is saying that, yo, the promoter was trying to be a little too fanned out. You know what I'm saying? He was running up on him and telling him, like, or trying to talk to him, put his arm around him, make it seem like they were cooler than they are, and trying to show out for his city. Now, could this have been a tip-off to Finesse2Tymes and his family or his peoples that were there? That, yo, man, maybe this dude is too fanned out, and maybe we can find an opportunity to get over on him. Possibly, man. That's a possibility, man. You know? Bruh. Some people, you know, they ain't for all that friendly type stuff, man. It seems like Finesse2Tymes, when it comes to promoters and stuff like that, he's not. And if he was right and the promoter was out there intoxicated while he's supposed to be running the event, that's a bad look. That's a bad look. So I got to agree with him on that one. You know what I'm saying? I definitely got to agree on that. It's crazy, man. And I'm not trying to just take Finesse2Tymes side either, man. But with that response, it seemed like Finesse2Tymes kind of took the cold approach to this, or not cold approach, the cold-hearted approach. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have any empathy or sympathy for anybody else involved but his crew. And from what he said, people from his crew are getting investigated. Now, there's 2 people who have been charged. So let's talk about that, right? There's 2 guys who have been charged in this situation. And you guys can't see that as good. So let's bring that in for y'all a little bit. There you go. All right, so these 2 guys right here have been charged. And, you know, just because, let's make this really big. There you go. Pause. Y'all stop playing. Oh, yeah, man, I've just been going and going and going. Y'all do me a favor, man. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And also, man, make sure you hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button, man. So these 2 guys right here were charged, right? Jackie Netterville and Gino Mickens. Now, based on what Finesse2Tymes said, it sounded like these 2 are his people. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just keep it real on that. Sound like these were some of his folks that got charged. Now, let's read the story. Now, the story says that 2 charged in shooting at Finesse2Tymes concert in Tennessee. 2 people are now charged after a shooting at a rap concert in Knoxville involving Memphis-based rapper Finesse2Tymes. You know what I mean? Wrong sound effect. Jackie Netterville, 22 years old, and Gino Mickens, 20, have been charged with reckless endangerment. Mickens was arrested following the shooting. He had multiple outstanding felony warrants out of Florida. What's crazy is Finesse2Tymes had a show that got canceled for some weird reasons out in Florida. Like, it was weird. He had a show in Florida and they were like, nah, man, he can't have, I'm not sure if this guy's from that city, but it seemed like it was a risk to the whole community they were making it seem like, so they had to cancel his show. You know what I mean? It was for some reason that they canceled the show that was just odd. I'll say that much, right? Now, Netterville is not in custody and his whereabouts are unknown at this time. The shooting happened at around 2:30 Monday morning. Police say a fight broke out before the shooting and involved the Memphis-based rapper and his security. Investigators say they have interviewed more than 25 people. At least 7 firearms were recovered. That's a lot. That's a lot of firearms that got recovered, man. What's going on with these ads? That's a lot of firearms to get recovered. You know what I'm saying? 7 to say the least. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, man. We'll do this. There you go. So 7 firearms were recovered, man. I don't know what's going on. And it says 1 victim is still in the hospital and the other 2 have been released. So it looks like 2 of the victims have been released. Nobody was critically injured, luckily. You know what I mean? Now, this incident isn't the first time Finesse2Tymes, real name Ricky Hampton, had a shooting happen at one of his shows in 2017. He was performing in Little Rock when the show was interrupted by a gang shootout. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison for carrying a gun during that show, and was also sentenced for having a gun in a different Arkansas nightclub the week before the Little Rock shooting. Now, what's crazy about this is, I remember when Finesse2Tymes got locked up. You know what I mean? When Finesse2Tymes ended up in that situation that he had involving the shooting in Little Rock, and that was the reason for him doing that bid in jail. Now, after he did prison. After he did his bid in prison, he came back out and got right to the rap game, and that's where he is today. But it looks like with these 2 cats, Jackie Netterville and Gino Mickens, they feel like they have the suspects that they want, you know what I'm saying, in connection to the shooting. So it looks like they've also been charged. So let's actually bring that up, all right? So it says that Netterville of Mississippi and Gino Mickens of Georgia have been charged with 1 count of reckless endangerment, and Netterville also faced an aggravated assault charge, according to Knoxville police. So the 2 cats who are allegedly in Finesse2Tymes crew have already been charged in the shooting. Now, the fact that they recovered 7 different firearms in the shooting, I'm not sure if that was from security members. I'm not sure if that was from individuals who were there who, gave up their firearm for some reason, they were being questioned or something like that. But regardless of the fact, man, if Finesse2Tymes keeps getting into situations like this, man, he gonna end up back in jail, man. I'm gonna keep it real, bruh. Like, he gotta, yeah. And I know in the state of hip hop that we have today, these kind of interactions are hard to get away from, right? Somebody's always kind of at a rapper's neck. And when we talk about the Lil Migo story, which is going to be our final story and our last thing we talk about, that seems to be what's going on right now with the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, the rappers who are kind of in that mid-level to bottom level, shoot, even the high-level rappers now, when you equate for the takeoff situation, man, it's like somebody is always at their head, man. Like somebody is always trying to get something from them. Somebody is always trying to shoot at them. There's always some sort of fight between. This is a weird time to be a rapper. I'll say that much, man. Like, it's not like somebody could. It's not like somebody could stop these things from happening because there's so many different moving pieces involved. But regardless, man, it's probably best to protect yourself from these situations. And maybe Finesse2Tymes isn't too big to get a bag everywhere right now, but at a certain point, he's going to get to where he's can't take these small shows, in these random cities and just for the bag. You know what I'm saying? I know there's always going to be the chitlin circuit where you can get your bag up real quick if you need to get some money for something like that. But at a certain point, man, that danger seems to outweigh, the success of that, or for the monetary gain, I should say. The juice is not worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Craziness, man. So it looks like Finesse2Tymes, him personally in this situation, it's not going to be any charges or anything crazy like that. But when it comes to situations like this in the future, I think they're going to take this into account. Just like how they mentioned the Little Rock shooting or the Little Rock gun situation in this shooting involving these 2 cats who allegedly were with his crew that got arrested. I think they're gonna include those things in the future like this, man. So Finesse2Tymes, if he wants to keep that same motion that he got going, probably needs to take it a little bit more serious on what do you call it? What do you say? Resolving these situations the easy way, as opposed to really getting active in them streets, man. Yeah.
Bruh.
All right, man. So let's move on to our next story. And this is the big one that's been going on. A lot of people have been talking about this on social media. And that's Lil Migo, man. So let's talk about Lil Migo, man. This is crazy, man. This is it. So Lil Migo has been having a rough 2 months in this rap game. I'm going to keep it real, man. In the last 2 months, you had the situation with Grove Hero, where Lil Migo essentially got ran up on in the airport, which made a lot of headlines. And now you have his chain allegedly doing the world tour. You know what I mean? His chain being passed around like it's crazy. And if it's any question what chain, it's probably his most prominent chain. His chain with his name on it. Every rapper's favorite chain, they saving grace almost. You know what I mean? That chain that they put out there with their face on it, with their name on it, man. And it looks like the Ops then caught his chain. And when I say the Ops, I'm talking about a whole nother record label that his record label has been into it with. You know what I mean? So how do we get here? Let's do this, man. And this, y'all bear with me for a second while I bring this back to where it needs to be, so we can cover this Lil Migo situation. Yeah. There we go. All right. So Lil Migo allegedly had his chain taken in Memphis. And that guy that you see right there in that picture is a guy by the name of CEO Jizzle. Now, this is odd because a lot of rumors out there are saying that CEO Jizzle is the brother of Lotta Cash Desto and the son of, or possible son, this is rumor, of Hernandez Govan. And just because he's the brother of Desto possibly doesn't mean that Hernandez Govan is definitely his dad. They could have different dads, same mom, or anything like that. You feel me? But that's a rumor that's out there. And that's the guy who went public with Lil Migo's chain that essentially started this world tour for everybody to see, right? Now, as I mentioned before, for Lil Migo, man, it's been kind of tough out here, man. Bruh has been getting ran up on in the airport. And this dude posted this picture with that same chain that you see Lil Migo posted with right here on. He's got it on. I mean, and he's got a watch. I'm wondering if he got his watch and his chain and everybody just focusing on the chain. But it does seem a little odd that chain looks eerily similar to the one that Lil Migo is always sporting, man. And if you need a better picture, here's straight from Lil Migo's Instagram page. That chain right there. Looks like the same chain to me. I mean, they haven't commented on it yet, but it definitely looks like the same chain to me. You feel me? So let's take a look at this. So CEO Jizzle posted this on social media, and this is when everybody started going crazy. They were like, wow, CEO Jizzle is actually calling out Lil Migo and posting with his chain. And he wrote, "Is you Lil?" with a question mark. Now, what's even crazier is Lil Migo is slow to respond to this situation. You know, he's not really saying much, man. He's kind of keeping it on the hush with this situation. But CEO Jizzle is not. So he went to social media and made another post about the chain. So let's look at that real quick. Now, in this post, CEO Jizzle says this. He says he has 100,000 on his head days after taking Lil Migo's jewelry. So in this post, he posted this, and this is obviously from the story on his Instagram page. He said, 100 on my head? Come on, bruh. Quit being cheap. So basically alluding to the fact that Lil Migo got 100 on his head. Now, I'm not saying that a Lil Migo has $100,000 on his head. That seems really high. You know what I'm saying? Like, that seems like something that anybody who's a real goon in them streets would really jump on, you know, and really, we've heard crazy numbers, especially around the Dolph situation. And that's the perfect spin about this, right? Lil Migo is one of CMG's most prominent artists under one of their most, I don't want to say, how do I describe Black Youngster, man? He's probably one of their wildest artists too, man. We'll say Black Youngster is one of the most outspoken artists as far as the young Dolph situation took place. Remember, Black Youngster shot a music video with Young Dolph's last name on a grave while he was out there rapping with a gun in his hand. You know what I mean? You know, kind of alluding to the fact that he might have been involved or whatnot. And Grove Hero took that personal. So he approached Lil Migo being Black Youngster's artist, and basically, you know, slapped him. That's what he said he did. He said he slapped him. On the video, it's a little weird to tell. You hear somebody get hit. Lil Migo said he ain't get slapped. Whatever. We kind of forgot about it, man. So now we have this situation popping up with his chain on somebody else's neck, and it looks just as bad. I think the thing that's getting exposed here is maybe Lil Migo ain't about that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's a good thing if he was about that, because at the end of the day, that's a little childish way to look at these things, right? Because somebody could really end up losing their life in these situations, right? But when it comes to your chain and you're a rapper and somebody taking it from you and putting it out there like that, it looks all bad, man. It just looks bad. And for CMG, I don't know, bro. Y'all tell me in the chat.
Bruh.
Is this an L? Y'all tell me, man. Tell me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, do me a favor, y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button if you're in here right now. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. But make sure you hit that like button. That's really important, man, for the algorithm to get these likes up, right? And plus, it's our first live back after a long layoff. So, you know, get used to me doing a lot more of these with these, crazier topics, more specific to things like this Memphis show or whatnot. But back on task. So it doesn't end here. And this is where the whole Young Dolph aspect gets into this, right? Because Young Dolph, RIP, rest in peace, he left behind a lot of artists on PRE. And they're still kind of in, I don't even want to say kind of, they're still in, they got a lot of people that they're beefing with. I don't want to call it a war, but they're still at odds with a lot of people. CMG, obviously, right? And you can obviously see it's still a hot situation. Still tense when you had the Grove Hero situation where he ran up on Lil Migo in an airport. That lets you know how tense this situation is. And Key Glock had some things to say about it. So everybody is still at odds, right? Somebody from PRE ends up getting the chain.
Bruh.
Man, let me stop.
Oh my God.
Yes, somebody from PRE ends up getting the chain. A rapper by the name of Kenny Muney. Now, y'all see Kenny Muney right there, right? Posing with the chain. Like I said, man, you see Lil Migo with the CMG chains. You see his Migo chain, right? Going on a world tour, man. And it looks like he spent some money on that chain. You know, I don't know exactly what jewelry. I don't wear big chains or anything like that. But if you look at Lil Migo's chain and the quality of that and everything, it looks like that was his piece. Like that was a piece he probably saved up a couple of show money for and spent the bag on. You know what I mean? And Kenny Muney is an artist that I've reported on before who got in a little situation in Atlanta. I believe there was a shooting, but he's with PRE. So now you directly have somebody from Young Dolph's tutelage who has the property of CMG artists or Black Youngsters artists or even Yo Gotti's artist, Lil Migo, man. So this, bruh, this is like a powder keg. Add in the fact that CEO Jizzle already talked about the fact that he believes that there's a 100K bag on his head. Now, there were other reports. People were saying that the guy who took the chain is fearing for his life by saying that and putting it out there ahead of time to protect himself. But regardless if that's the truth, shoot, smart strategy to me. You know what I'm saying? So with Kenny Muney having this chain, it looks that much even worse, right? Because he's from the opposite end of this whole beef. And for him to be able to hold that over CMG's head, it just probably, I'm pretty sure at this point, when Lil Migo had his had got run up on in the airport, okay, anything can happen. You can charge that to the game, right? But the fact that you got somebody from your direct opposition, this isn't like any proxy, this is direct opposition at this point, and they're flaunting your chain, showing that you can't hold it down,
Bruh.
they probably a little upset at Lil Migo right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, what Kenny Muney says is going to hit home. So let's talk about the post. He says, just let him buy it back. He'll be wearing it again soon. Be grateful. Ain't going to be as nice next time. Watch your mouth and stay in a little boy place. So basically poking the fun at Lil Migo being a younger dude and saying that he should watch his mouth and stay in his place. But he also gave him a warning saying that it probably won't be this easy next time and just be grateful. Now you take from that what you want, but from my side of the street or what I'm looking at it as, it sounds like somebody is telling them that this could have went a lot worse. Like, be lucky that you didn't get shot or anything of that nature. Now, how the chain was acquired, that's still up for debate. I mean, it could have just been a run up on him and put a gun to his head or anything like that. But obviously somebody got a hold of his chain. Sometimes you see rappers, they come out and they say, nah, they just robbed my house. That's usually what most rappers say. Unless a video comes out of them getting robbed, to save face, the first thing they always say is, nah, man, they robbed my house. That's how they got my chain. But Kenny Money wasn't done there, right? So he also made this post right here, and I want you guys to take this into account, man, while we're talking about this issue, right? He said, let him buy it back. Now I'm editing out the cussing, so you got to rock with me, right? So he said, forget it. Let him buy it back. He ain't no gangster. He just follow. Stop right there. Now, since Lil Migo came in the game, I remember when he first made that video after getting signed to Black Youngster, where he was on the front porch at what looked like his crib, his house, nice neighborhood. And he was just dissing. He was like, forget this person. He didn't name any names specifically, but it was like, yo, if you ain't with me, he was kind of just dissing. And a lot of people thought he was talking about Key Glock. So him and Key Glock went back and forth. And it was suggested that Key Glock, and this is when Young Dolph was alive, it was suggested that Lil Migo and Key Glock shoot the fair one and get it over with. This was about a year ago, right? And that never happened, right? Or it was about 2 years ago. Let's keep it real. And that never happened, right? Maybe that could have put an end to all this. But I don't think, man, with all these things that's been happening to Lil Migo, he really about that street life. And that goes to show that if you want to be a rapper and you just want to rap, you don't want to do any of this extra stuff, be in the streets, watching your back. I mean, think about that existence, man.
Bruh.
Who wants to be doing all that when your focus is you want to rap? I don't want to be watching my back, people trying to rob me, shoot me, kill me. You know what I'm saying? To be a street rapper at this time is crazy.
Bruh.
Yes, if you make it to the top, the benefits of that are crazy, man. You'll be seeing money like you won't believe. Flying private jets, all the things that these cats are doing. But on the way up there, you got all these different obstacles. And is the juice worth the squeeze, man? Tell me now.
Bruh.
I don't think so. You know what I mean? So let's finish what he was saying. So he said he's not a gangster. He just follow. I'm on my stop the violence stuff today, but might not be tomorrow with the shrug emoji. You welcome. Explicitive, put it whatever you want to call that, man, you know? And basically calling Lil Migo out and saying that, yo, he didn't feel like being violent or getting at him while posing with his chain and some dude with some large gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really not about that life,
Bruh.
that's going to scare you, dog. You should really count your blessings that he's saying this and hopefully he's standing on that, right? You can get your chain back and there'll be no issue to you, man. But it is what it is. And that, if you sign to a street label, you putting out street stuff, you posing with guns and stuff like that, people are going to bring that same energy to you, man. And I'm going to keep it real. And if you ain't about that, it just doesn't seem worth it. And I don't know if Lil Migo is about that. Because it's the second time where he came out bad, man. Where it looked bad on his end.
Bruh.
And I don't have nothing against Lil Migo, his music. I don't have nothing against CMG. I like CMG and PRE equally. I like Young Dolph's music personally more. You know what I'm saying? Playlist, that was my playlist dude for forever, man. All through 2017, 2018, I want to say. But yeah, man. With that being said, it's just another situation with a rapper getting put out here in a bad light or a bad situation when, man, this all could probably be avoidable. But maybe it's not. Am I being too optimistic about this? When it comes to Lil Migo and this chain, when you do that, like 50 Cent, there's a video of 50 Cent some time ago talking about this. And he said that, yo, when you get a chain, or it was somebody who was affiliated with him, and they were constantly getting robbed. And it was making 50 Cent mad because he's like, yo, dog, every time you pull up in a new whip, or every time you get a new watch. And he knew the dude wasn't a gangster or nothing like that. He was kind of like an A&R, nobody close to him. He was like, well, if you're going to wear a chain, you got to hold that chain down. You got to tell everybody, just as much as you putting it out there, is that, yo, it's almost a dare to those people who would try to steal it. And if more rappers, especially when they got their large jewelry like that on, move with more caution and think about that, I think we hear a lot less chains getting snatched, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, what do y'all think?
Bruh.
Actually, wrong button, man. That was facts. Now I see some of y'all saying Grove ended Lil Migo, like the Grove situation already put it out there, and this is just the icing on the cake. But really, is it? If Lil Migo comes with a hit, will that erase all this? Or is he so married to the gangster rap image or the street image that any L, you know what I'm saying? Any L in the face of his fans, in the faces of everybody else out there, it's just going to look so much worse and be so much worse for his career. Like I said, man, in today's rap game, I could not be a street rapper. That is just not where it's at, bro. You know what I mean?
Bruh.
Yeah, it's just not, man. It's not, because, I mean, let me get it right. I listen to the music, so I don't want to be a hypocrite. I like listening to drill. I like listening to street music, especially like rappers from Memphis. Finesse2Tymes, I love his stuff. Most of the cats from Memphis. I listen to most of them. Everybody on the PRE, CMG roster pretty much, or both rosters. You know what I mean? But at some point, man, if you're going to be doing that, I think you got to distance yourself, man, just to avoid these little situations he keeps running into, man. You know? Somebody said rapping is more dangerous than anything now. Yeah, man, because sort of like Kenny Muney said, you know, remember what he said there. He said, and I might want to go back to that. He said, yo, this time we were feeling like no violence. You know, it's almost like a warning. Like, next time we catch you slipping, it might not be the same, or it might be an even worse result. You know what I mean? And if I was Lil Migo, I would take that for real, man. If Lil Migo was out here, he was out here calm and just, you know, now he's a savage, I would understand the change, because at a certain point you get tired of that mess, I'm sure. People running up on you in the airport.
Bruh.
People taking your chain.
Bruh.
People taking your chain and then giving it to the ops so they can pose with it and dish you.
Bruh.
Like, at some point, Lil Migo is probably on some,
What more do you want from me?
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I hate to make fun of his situation because this is real. Because people out here with real guns and it's real life. But man, if I ain't signed up for all that and all I wanted to do was be a rapper, maybe me and the CEO would have a talk about getting me some security on staff or something. Or at least have my homeboys in security, because this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Y'all said rock and roll, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Somebody preaching up in here, man. I'm not super duper religious. You know, I do believe in God. You know what I mean? I'm mad I just said that. You know, some people, they don't like that. Maybe that'll get a hit, you know? It's a weird thing. You ain't supposed, I'll leave it alone. But yes, man. Yeah, okay. I'm just looking at the chat now. But yeah, with this Lil Migo situation, that's where I'm going to lead at, man. I'm going to lead at Lil Migo. We'll see if this has a major effect on his rap career. Because, you know, they don't like to see, you know, the fans, if you profess that you're a gangster rapper, all right, let's make this make sense. Profess that you're a gangster rapper. You really about that life. They don't like to see you take no L's. You got to be a super rapper. Like, you got to be about the shooting, be about getting the money, have the baddest chicks. You got to be everything. You got to be encompassing all that, man. And that's just too much pressure for a human being. That's why those rappers like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, even Drake at times, they could be more vulnerable. If they take a L, you almost laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? Because you appreciate the music so much, and them being real people to you, you know, as opposed to just this super rapper. It gives you a sense of relatability and the understanding of the mistakes that you make. So, you know, it's a different connection there, you know? And I hate to go off on some super deep backpack rap connection, but that's just a fair assessment of how I see it. But if you profess to be gangster, people gonna hold you to that, man. And your path in the rap game is gonna be a little tough than everybody else. You know what I mean? All right, man. Now let's see if there's some shout outs. All right, man. I appreciate this has been a long layoff since we did a live, but we're going back consistently, dropping lives left and right, man. So y'all get prepared. And I also got some interviews for y'all. Not sure if you guys checked this out. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Memo 600, man, former OTF affiliate. Also a member of, a member of 600, I could say that, it's in his name, but very candid, very open in this interview, man. And we talked about a lot of things. He left everything on the table. I mean, I send a list of questions that I'm going to ask and whatnot, and he was cool with answering everything. We talked about so many different topics, and I got another part that I'm about to drop. I was going to do 4 parts, but it looks like part 1 is kind of going up and crazy. But for those of you who check part 1, check part 2 and 3. And then I'm pretty sure we have enough material to where we'll do a 4 and a 5. So, and then we'll leave it at that. I didn't want it to be long running, too many parts, but very, very good interview, man. I appreciate that, man, And we talked about everything from Whack 100 to King Von, to his relationship now with Lil Durk, to all the things that are going on in Memphis hip hop. So you'll be hearing about that as well. So we talked about some of the things like the young Dolph shooting, like Takeoff, with all that, man, everything. So good perspective on a lot of those things, man. Dude was really media trained like a mug, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, man. So, man, with that, man, this been your boy, Big Man. I appreciate everybody who made it out to this live. I know it's a lot going on, man, but please stay tuned because I'm going to be going live a lot more often since we back in the motion and I'm not traveling now. And just drop your boy a like if you can, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure that you tune in every time I go live. And we out of here. Peace. Oh, yeah. My bad. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody who showed up. Make sure you all hit that like button. And especially AZ King, Dream Doll, all my mods, man. Shout out to y'all, man. I got more action and more motion for y'all in the future, right? So we out of here. Peace.